Alberta Primetime with Michael Higgens.
Welcome to Alberta Primetime. Ahead tonight, our politics panel on developments paving the way to an anti-separation referendum. But first, facing the past.
It's colorful, no doubt, but it's also all out there. I have no skeletons in my closet.
Rahim Jaffer on his bid for a return to the spotlight. The former Conservative MP successfully won 4 straight elections between 1997 and 2008, but also faced controversy while in office and post-politics. Now, he's pursuing a run for the mayor's chair in Edmonton, and Rahim Jaffer joins us now. Mr. Jaffer, good to see you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is wonderful.
Why seek a political comeback? What's motivating this drive to get into municipal politics?
Well, you know, it's a good question. I've had that a lot lately, of course, and I felt that with the experience that I've had to offer, although being out of the limelight and not being involved politically, I was back in the community the last almost 15 years, running a business, raising my son, involved on different boards at schools and doing things that most families do. And I was excited to be able to participate in that. But over the course of the last decade in particular, I've seen a slow decline of where I remember Edmonton to be and what I was so proud of this city when I was fortunate enough to represent it federally. And the challenges that I face not only as a parent, but day to day as someone who's trying to add to the economy, hire people, support what's happening in this province, in this city, I felt that the leadership at our city hall is just doesn't have that rounded experience when it comes to cultivating and supporting business and creating the environment that I remembered so fondly when I was growing up about how industry fueled the public service and how community was so paramount and how things were safe. And those are the kind of things that really said, well, you know, rather than complaining, because that's what I was doing, maybe I need to get involved.
Okay, so what would be the change then that you would bring to City Council? Like how different an approach would you bring compared to the current look of Edmonton City Council?
I'm glad you asked that question, because one of the things I remember when I was leaving federal politics is that things were becoming very acrimonious. There was not that type of relationship where just because you belonged with another party doesn't mean they have the best ideas. There was some cultivation of working together. There was an effort to get to know each other. Like, we would fight it out in committees or on the floor of the House. But then, without fail, there was a few NDP Liberals and Conservatives all meet up at the bar, local bar, have a few drinks and get on each other's nerves, but find a common solution. And I find that at City Hall, that's really missing, that it's become more acrimonious. There's ideas that could be easily supported by different councillors and the mayor, and yet they are not able to coordinate. So that's the one thing I hope to bring. I do that every day in my business. I did that in my former life, and I hope to bring that sort of thinking to City Hall. Work with whoever gets there. It's not about left or right.
Well, and on that point then, you're approaching this as an independent? You're not aligning yourself with any of the new municipal political parties?
You know, I want to give him a shout out, because clearly that organization is never easy. I remember back in the day when we were building a political movement and how hard it is to coordinate that. I just feel that local politics is more about the ability for working together, no matter who your neighbor is or who they may support. Filling a pothole, fixing some of the challenges, dealing with the garbage issues, doesn't matter what jersey you wear politically, it's who can get the job done. And so that's where I hope to actually show the same leadership that I've been showing in business as I did in the past in politics, and bring a new, fresh, changed perspective.
You're the 6th person to enter this race. And there are others on council who are running. There's a past councillor running. How do you fit into that picture minus the municipal political experience?
Well, and I think that's right. Look, experience is important. I know that I had political experience, might not be local, but being involved in a business, being involved with a family in Edmonton, as I mentioned, dealing with a lot of the challenges that a lot of Edmontonians face, I'm hearing more and more that despite not having that municipal representation experience, that people want something new. They want something fresh. They want new ideas that can maybe be brought from a new perspective. So I feel that even though some of these councillors, you know, my hat's off to them. They served, they did the best job they can. But it seems to me that some of the problems that we're facing today are in a direct result of some of the decisions that were made. And now they're asking for a promotion. And so people I'm hearing at the doors, at my restaurant, on the streets, they're frustrated. They want something new, and they want someone bold who will bring some ideas maybe that we had to deal with in our business or other things. And so I'm kind of optimistic about that, even though I'm late to enter this race.
Okay, but it sounds like, though, you're already knocking on doors. Okay, so you encounter voters who bring up the controversies of the past, the time your executive assistant impersonated you on a Vancouver radio station for an interview, the impaired driving, drug possession charges that were downgraded to careless driving. How do you respond to that to instill confidence in your candidacy now?
So I think one of the things is to own up to these things. I mean, I was young when I was elected back in 1997, 25 years old, and thrust with a lot of responsibility. And I think winning 4 elections demonstrated that I obviously did a decent job as being an MP, but obviously, like anyone, make mistakes. When you move forward from those mistakes, it's how we're judged, learning from them, how have we adjusted, and for me, what kind of role model am I to my son? I think that's something that is on my mind every day. And so I've said, you know, my skeleton, as the clip said, I've got nothing to hide. Everything's already out there. So people, I think when they talk to me, they see somebody who's lived real experience, not really somebody who's tried to hide anything. Faced, come from rock bottom. I was so fortunate to serve the way I did. I was able to work on incredible projects, work with Canadians across the country, represent this riding. But also, I failed the other way, went downwards, had to build up again. And that sort of strength and resilience, I find, is being respected. People, I think, in their lives have all gone through stumbles or challenges. So maybe that's something they can relate to. I think it's long ago enough that people don't really hold that as something that's over their head. Some may, and they do have other options. That's the beauty of democracy. But I think most people that I'm hearing for are excited that I'm bringing a different perspective and a lot of experience. Some might say baggage, but I think most people say that's experience once you've come and overcome those challenges and moved on to positive things.
All right. We will have to leave it there for time.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Mr. Jaffer.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.